guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you how to crochet the Dear Debbie beanie, which is an original pattern of mine and is available in written form on my blog for free. It is a beanie that will match my Dear Debbie jumper once that pattern is released, which should be in the next few weeks or so. So it is in the final stages of testing and my Dear Debbie jumper should be ready in the next few weeks. But to get you all started, and as a little bit of a teaser, I guess, I thought I would give you guys a tutorial on how to crochet the Dear Debbie beanie, which is a free pattern available on my blog. So today all we're using is, of course, my favorite Spot Saver USA style yarn. It is just a worsted weight, aka 10-ply yarn. This is available at Spotlight for us Aussies. Otherwise, if you are not in Australia or, you know, overseas somewhere and you don't have access to this exact yarn, you can use any worsted weight yarn, that's fine. This is the old label. It does actually look like this now. So if you can't find this exact one, they have changed the label, so it looks like this now. Okay. So I've got my yarn, I've got a faux fur pom-pom. Now you don't have to use a faux fur pom-pom, you can use any pom-pom that you like. You might like to make your own out of yarn, which is absolutely fine. If you would like to purchase this exact faux fur pom-pom, I do sell them on my website, so I will leave a little link down below if you would like to go and purchase one of these. Otherwise, any other faux fur pom-pom or pom-pom that you've made yourself is absolutely fine, and you can of course make the beanie without a pom-pom at all, so that is completely up to you. Then all I've got is a pair of scissors, a darning needle, and a 5mm crochet hook, which is the hook relevant to this yarn. If you are using a lighter weight yarn or a smaller or bigger hook, please just test your gauge first, because it will probably impact the finished size of your beanie. Now this beanie and this tutorial is for a one size fits most adult size beanie. If you did want to make a smaller beanie for a child, I would recommend going down a hook size or going down in your weight of yarn. So going down to an 8-ply or a DK weight yarn instead. Okay, let's get started. So we're just going to create a slip knot and pop that onto our hook, and then we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then all we're going to do is slip stitch into that very first chain just to create a loop. So inserting our hook into there, yarning over and pulling through both loops. So then if you pull this apart, you should have a loop in the middle. Okay, now we're going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to do 11 double crochet into that loop in the middle there. If you're using the UK terms, this is known as a treble crochet. So just 11 double crochet into that center loop. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we should have a total of 12 double crochet, including our chain 3. So our first chain 3 does count as our first stitch. So there should now be a total of 12 stitches in our loop. So just go back and count them just to make sure, because if this count is off, it will affect your whole entire beanie. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, including our first chain 3. So then what we're going to do to join this round is slip stitch in the top of that first chain 3. Over, pulling through, and then all we're going to do is chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3. So you should have something that looks a little bit like this. Don't worry if you have a hole here, because at the end, once you pull this tight, it'll close that hole right up. Plus, it'll be covered by pom-poms, so you won't see that hole at all. Okay, so to begin round 2, again, just like our previous round, the chain 3 does count as our first double crochet. So we are going to, for this round, be increasing into every stitch around, so which means we're going to be doing 2 double crochet in every stitch all the way around. So we are going to be completing our first stitch into that very same stitch that our chain 3 is in. So just yarning over, inserting our hook, completing our double crochet. Now the rest of the round will be completed in the back loop only. The only reason that first stitch isn't completed in the back loop only is because you are crocheting into your chain 3 from your previous round, which means there is no back loop. So for the rest of the round, we are continuing to double crochet into the back loop only and 2 double crochet into each stitch. So next stitch, 1, 2 double crochet, and then into the next stitch, back loop only, 1, 2 double crochet, and then just continuing that exact method all the way around. And our final increase for the round, which should leave us with a total of 24 stitches going all the way around. So just double count them, double check them and make sure you count the end of your row, your round, just to make sure that you do have the right amount of stitches, because as I said earlier, if your stitch count is off, it will affect the pattern later on, because we're going to be doing bobbles and things and you need to have a certain amount of stitches for that to work. So just double check that you've got all your stitches. You should have 24 after round 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. Perfect. Once you've counted your stitches and you've made sure that you've got the right amount, we're going to slip stitch back into that top chain, just like we did on the previous round. Slip stitch to join, and then we're chaining 3 again, which again does count as our very first double crochet. Now for round 3, we're going to be increasing in every second stitch. So we're going to leave that chain 3 as our first stitch just by itself, and now we're going to be increasing into that second stitch. So again, only in the back loop, so not going through both loops, just through the back loop for these rounds. So 2 double crochet into the next stitch. Then we're doing 1 double crochet into the next stitch. 2 double crochet into the next. One double crochet into the next. And just continuing that pattern all the way around until you get back here to the start, where you should finish on a 2 double crochet. Okay, so here I am up to my last stitch of the round, where I will be finishing on an increase stitch. So 2 double crochet into that last stitch. And again, I recommend just going back and counting your stitches to make sure that you do have the right amount. You should have a total of 36 stitches after this round, including your chain 3 at the start. So again, to join the round, we're just slip stitching into the top of that chain 3 and chaining 3 again. Now for the next round, we're going to be increasing, but only in every 3rd stitch. So again, we're going to leave our first 3 chains as 1 stitch by itself. Then we're going into the next stitch with 1 double crochet. Remember, just in the back loop. And then 2 double crochet in the next stitch. And that is the pattern for this round. So 1 double crochet in the next stitch, 1 double crochet in the next stitch, and 2 double crochet in the next. So you're basically going 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2 all the way around until you get back to here, and again you should finish on an increase, so a 2 double crochet. Okay, so again we're back up to our very last stitch where we are finishing on an increase, so 2 double crochet into that last stitch, slip stitching again to join the round into that top of that chain 3 and chaining 3 again. Again, make sure you go back and count your stitches. At the end of round 4, you should have a total of 48 stitches going around. Now you'll start to see that it is you can see where you're going into the back loops only. I think it gives a really nice finish and a little bit of texture, which I'm absolutely obsessed with at the moment, which you can probably tell from all my recent designs. The Dear Debbie Beanie and the Dear Debbie Jumper, I'm absolutely obsessed with texture at the moment, and I think just going into the back loop just gives it a little bit of something extra, you know. Okay, so now we are going into round 5. Again, we are going to be increasing, but this time we're just going up by 1 stitch. So instead of going into every 3rd stitch, we're going to be increasing into every 4th stitch. So again, leaving that chain 3 as a single double crochet by itself, and then going into that next stitch with a single double crochet. Remember, back loop only. Next stitch with a single double crochet. So we've got 3 singles, and now we're going in with an increase, so 2 double crochets into the next stitch. Then again, 1 double crochet into the next stitch, another double crochet into the next stitch, another double crochet into that next stitch, and then we're going in with an increase, so 2 double crochets in that next stitch. So basically the pattern is single, 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 double, and you're just continuing with that pattern all the way around until you get back to here, and you will end again on an increase. So double crochet, next stitch double crochet, next stitch double crochet, and then the next stitch is your increase, so 2 double crochets, and just continuing that all the way around. So here we are again, back to the last stitch, so finishing on an increase, so 2 double crochet into that very last stitch, and then slip stitching to join, just like we have on all our previous rounds, and then chaining 3. So this is what you should have so far. Again, just count your stitches, make sure you've got the right amount. Now we should have a total of 60 stitches going all the way around after round 5. Now we're going to begin round 6, which is also an increase round, and this is our very last increase round. So again, using the same pattern, we're just going to be double crocheting 1 into the next stitch, 1 into the next stitch, and 1 more into that next stitch. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 double crochet, and then we're doing an increase, so 2 double crochet into that next stitch. So that's your pattern, 1, 2, 3, 4 single double crochets, then 1 increase, so 2 double crochets. So 1 double crochet into that next stitch, 1 double crochet into the next, 1 double crochet into the next, 1 double crochet into the next. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 double crochet into that next stitch to increase. And then again, just doing that all the way around back to the beginning. All right, so here we are at the end of our round. Again, finishing on a increase, so 2 double crochet into that last stitch, slip stitching to join, just like we have on all the previous rounds, and chaining 3. So this is what you should have so far. Now you should have a total of 72 stitches going all the way around, so make sure you count those. And then we are going to be starting on the fun part. Okay, so to begin round 7, we are going to be doing the front post, back post, double crochet. If you're not familiar with how to do that, don't worry, it's really, really easy, and I'm going to show you how to do it now. You should have a total, as I said, of 72 stitches going all the way around, and we are going to be doing front post, back post, all the way around for the entire round. So to start off, what we're going to be doing is, instead of inserting our hook into the stitch there like we have been doing, we are going to be inserting our hook in behind the post. Okay, so we're just going to leave this chain 3. That still counts as a stitch, but it won't matter. We'll come back to that at the end and I'll explain what to do there. But we're just going around this next stitch here, okay? So the first stitch is going to be a front post double crochet. So yarning over, inserting your hook in behind the post, yarning over again, pulling through under the post, yarning over, pulling through 2, yarning over and pulling through 2, and that's your very first front post double crochet. Now the next stitch will be a back post double crochet, which is exactly the same as what we just did, but instead of going in behind the post, you are now going around the back of the post like that. Yarning over, inserting our hook in behind the post, yarning over again, pulling through, yarning over, pulling through 2, yarning over, pulling through another 2. Okay, and that's what it should look like so far. All right, so we're going to continue that pattern all the way around. I'll show you the next few and then I'll meet you back at the end. So yarning over again, going in and completing a front post double crochet. And then we're doing a back post double crochet. Just like that, and continuing that pattern all the way around. So you'll be doing front post, back post, front post, back post, front post, back post, all the way around until you get back to the end. All right, so this is what you should have so far. This is what your piece should look like. You might notice that it is now starting to dome a little bit. That's perfectly fine because our last row was not an increase row. So you'll find that it does start to turn into a dome shape, which is perfect because that's what we want it to do. So here we are up to our final stitch, and we will be finishing on a front post double crochet. So just completing that one now. And then you will be up to your chain 3 that we completed at the beginning of the round. Now all you're going to do there is just exactly what we've been doing and slip stitching to join the round. So that's what it should look like. Now that you will notice there is a little bit of a seam there. Don't stress too much about it because honestly, with the front post, back post round, you can honestly barely notice it. It blends right in. This part here at the top of your beanie will be covered by a pom-pom, most likely, depending on the size of your pom-pom. So if you can see that seam, honestly, don't stress about it. It'll be gone. So now to start the next round, we're chaining 3 again, which of course does count as our first double crochet. Now for the next round, we are just doing what we just did. So front post, back post, front post, back post, all the way around. It will be a lot easier this round because you can see that the stitches here, so the ones that are front post are sticking out a little bit, which makes it a lot easier for you to get your hook in behind it, and same at the back. So this round will be a lot easier if you're not familiar with the front post, back post, double crochet. So all we're going to do now is exactly what we just did. So front post, double crochet, back post, double crochet, front post, double crochet, and back post, double crochet. And just continuing that pattern all the way around, and I'll meet you here at the end. Okay, so here we are at the end of round 8. Now I'm just finishing off the last front post double crochet. And then again, just like the previous round, we're slip stitching into the top of our chain 3 to join. And then chaining 3. So this is what you should have so far. As you can see, this stitch gives the most amazing texture. Now to start round 9, this is a really easy round. All we're going to be doing is 1 double crochet in every single stitch around. Now we're only going back into the back loop. So just like what we did up here for our increase rounds, we're now just doing the back loop once again into our stitches. So just 1 double crochet in every stitch all the way around, but only into the back loop. Alright, so here we are back up to our last stitch, so just completing that last double crochet, and then again slip stitching into the top of our chain 3 to join the round, and chaining 3. So now we should be up to round 10, and this is the bobble stitch round. So if you're not familiar with the bobble stitch, you can head over to my tutorial. I will put a little button up the top there and you can press on that and go learn it and come back to this video. But I am going to show you here anyway. It is very, very easy. All you need to know is how to double crochet and slip stitch basically. So all we're doing is 1 double crochet in the next 4 stitches, remembering just into the back loop only. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So you should have a total of 5 stitches, including your first chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is correct. And now we're going to complete our bobble. So all we do for the bobble is 5 double crochet, but into that 1 stitch. So we're doing 5 double crochet into the 1 stitch, and we're still going into that back loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is what it looks like at the moment. Now don't worry if you feel like this is going to be loose, because once we start the next round, you will be crocheting into your bobble, so it holds it in place. So don't worry if you think, oh, going through the back loop, it's going to be a bit loose and it's going to dangle. It won't. Once we finish the next round, it will be held in place and it will be super secure. So now, after we've completed our 5 double crochet into the 1 stitch, we're now going to make our loop a little bit bigger because we're going to remove our hook. You're now going to insert your hook back into that first double crochet that we completed into that stitch. So the first double crochet of the 5 stitches we just completed, you're going to insert it into the stitch just like that, and we're going to come around behind our bobble and re-loop our yarn over our hook. Pull it a little bit tighter if you need to, and then all we're doing is pulling it through that first stitch. and that is what creates your bobble. Okay, so then from there, some people like to do a chain to secure it. I don't think it's necessary. I just continue crocheting as per usual. If you did want to do a chain to secure your bobble in place, you're more than welcome to, but just make sure in the next round that you don't confuse it for another stitch, because then your stitch count will be out. Okay, so if you want to be safe, just don't do your chain. Just trust me, it will all be okay. I promise. So now what we're going to do is 5 double crochet in the next 5 stitches. So remembering back loop only, 1 into the next stitch, 1 into the next stitch, 3, 4, 5. So that's just 5 single double crochets, and now you can really see your bobble. Isn't it cute? Okay, so now we're doing another bobble. So there will be 5 double crochets in between each bobble, basically. So now we're just doing the exact same for what we did for this bobble. So 5 double crochet into that 1 stitch, remembering back loop only. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and again, just removing our hook, make sure you don't lose that loop. Finding that first double crochet of the 5, reinserting our hook, coming around behind and pulling that loop back through that first stitch, just like so. And now again, we're going to do 5 double crochets into the next 5 stitches. Sorry, 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches. That makes more sense. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and now we're just doing the exact same, creating another bobble. So I'll show you this last one, and then I'm going to speed things up and I'll meet you back at the end. So 5 double crochet into that next stitch. 3, 4, 5, and again removing our hook, inserting into that first stitch, looping it back through and pulling it through. Okay, and that is how you do your bobble round. So just completing that pattern, so 5 single double crochets and then your bobble. So 5 singles, bobble, 5 singles, bobble, all the way around until you get back to the end, and you should finish your row on a bobble stitch. So here we are at the end of our bobble round. Now I'm just going to finish off our last bobble stitch, because as I said, your round should finish on a bobble. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then once you've completed your last bobble, we're just going to slip stitch to join in the top of our chain 3 from the beginning of the round. Just like that. And again, we're chaining 3 to begin our new round. And our next round is simply going to be 1 double crochet in every single stitch all the way around until we get back to the start here, remembering just to go into the back loop only. Okay, so 1 double crochet into every single stitch all the way around. Now, when you get to your bobble, it may be a little bit hard for you to get into the back loop, because as you can see there's not really much of a definition between the loops, which may make it a little bit hard to insert your hook into the back loop. Now, for this stitch, going into your bobble, don't worry about going into the back loop. I just go in under both. It's too difficult and too time consuming to try and get into the back loop. Your bobble covers it anyway, so you won't even be able to tell, but just make sure that all the rest of your stitches are just through the back loop only. And so you'll see now what I was talking about before about your bobbles being loose after going through the back loop only for your bobble. As you can see, now that I've completed that stitch and I've crocheted into that bobble stitch, it's super secure. It's not going anywhere. Like it's not super floppy. It's pretty secure. Even before I've crocheted the next round, like I find mine are pretty secure. Some people have told me that theirs get a little bit loose. I don't know if that's just to do with the yarn you're using or the tension, but mine are absolutely fine. So if you just follow what I'm doing, you should be absolutely fine, and you shouldn't have loose dangly bobbles. Okay, so just continuing on with that next round, I am just doing one double crochet in every single stitch in the back loop only, all the way back until we get to the start. Alright, so here we are at the end of our round. Now all I'm doing, I've just finished my last stitch, which ends in our bobble, as you can see right there. Now all we're doing to join the round is again just slip stitching into the top of that chain 3. And the next round is also super duper easy because it is just exactly the same as what we've just done. So just chaining 3 to start, and then we're just going to do one double crochet in every stitch all the way around, remembering back loop only. I'm just going to go ahead and do it, and I'll just meet you back at the end. I'm sure you guys have got that round down pat by now, so I'm just going to go ahead now, finish that row off, and I'll meet you back here at the end. Okie dokie, so here we are at the end of that round now, just finishing off the last stitch. So one double crochet in the last stitch, and again slip stitching to join and chaining 3. Now we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 rows by now, so you should be up to row number 13, and there should be 72 stitches going all the way around, just again making sure that you're counting your stitches after each row, or at least every couple of rows, just to make sure that you haven't dropped any stitches or haven't added any stitches unnecessarily. Cool. So what we're doing now is basically a repeat of everything that we've just done. So we're now going back in with our front post, back post, double crochets all the way around, continuing that pattern right back up until the end. So one front post, one back post, double crochet, front post, double crochet, back post, double crochet, all the way around, and we're going to complete that for 2 rounds. I'm going to go ahead and do 2 rounds and meet you back at the end of both rounds, just so this video doesn't drag out for like 2 hours. I'm going to try and speed things up a little bit. We have done it back here, so if you have forgotten what to do, just rewind the video, go back to what we did here, and it's exactly the same. So you should be now completing 2 rows of front post, back post, double crochet, and it will look exactly the same as what we've done earlier in the beanie back at this point here. Okay, so I'll do a couple with you just before we go. So front post, back post, front post, back post, and so on. So continuing that all the way around for 2 rows. So this row and then one more row on top of that. Okay, and I'll meet you back here at the end of both those rows. All right, here we are at the end of our front post, back post, double crochet rounds. So you should have just completed 2 rounds of front post, back post, double crochet. I'm going ahead now and just finishing off my very last stitch. So you should be finishing on a front post double crochet. And then we're just slip stitching, of course, into our chain 3, to join the round and chaining another 3. All right, now we're up to this section here. So again, all we're doing is a whole row of 1 double crochet in each stitch in the back loop only. Okay, so we're back to the back loop only, and of course your chain 3 does count as your first stitch. So then we're just going around the whole way with 1 double crochet in every single stitch in the back loop only. So if you like, you can pause your video and I'll meet you back at the beginning of the round. So here we are at the end of round 15. So I've just done 1 double crochet in every stitch all the way around, and I am slip stitching to join and chaining 3. Okay, so this is what it should look like so far. So you'll see that it is starting to take shape. So now we are up to our next bobble row, which is going to be exactly the same as the row we completed back here for our bobbles. So all we're doing is 1 double crochet into the next 4 stitches. So including your chain 3, you should have a total of 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're just completing our bobble stitch. So the exact same way that we did for our previous bobble stitch round. I'll take you through it a couple of times just to get you familiar with it again in case you haven't done it before making this beanie. So all we're doing is 5 double crochet into the 1 stitch, remembering we are still working into the back loop only. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Making our loop a little bigger so we don't lose it. Removing our hook, inserting back into that very first stitch that we completed of the 5. Bringing our hook around and pulling that loop back through that first stitch. And that's our bobble. Now just 5 double crochet into the next stitches. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like that. And then again another bobble. So 5 double crochet into that 1 stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Again, removing our hook, inserting into that first stitch and pulling that loop back through. Okay, so again, we're just going to continue with this pattern of 1 double crochet in the next 5 stitches, bobble, and so on and so forth until you get all the way back to the end, and you'll be finishing on a bobble stitch. So here we are at the end of round 16. I've just completed my last bobble stitch and I am slip stitching to join, chaining 3. Now this next round is super easy. It's just again 1 double crochet in every stitch all the way around in the back loop, of course, and just remembering once you get to the bobble stitch, don't worry about going into the back loop there. If it's too difficult, just go through both. You won't see it anyway because the bobble will be covering it. Okay, so just 1 double crochet in every stitch all the way around in the back loop only, and I shall meet you back here at the end, because then we're going to change to a 4mm crochet hook, which is not 100% necessary, and I should have probably mentioned at the start when I was telling you guys what you needed to make this, but I completely forgot about it. But it is not, you know, it's not crucial to the pattern. If you don't have a 4mm hook, Please don't stress, don't undo all your work and frog your project because it's not necessary at all. The only reason I switched to a 4mm hook for the next round and the remaining rounds after that is because I do like the band to be a little bit tighter around the head, just so I ensure that it fits snugly and it's not going to be loose and falling off your head. But as I said, it's completely not 100% necessary. If you don't have a 4mm crochet hook, please don't feel like you can't continue with the pattern because that's not the case at all. Honestly, you can barely tell when you do change to a 4mm hook. But I just like to do it just for that extra little bit of snugness around the head, so I make sure that my hat's nice and firm and it's not going to fall off. But again, as I said, please do not frog your project. If you don't have a 4mm crochet hook, you can continue using your 5mm, no problems at all. Okay, so I'm just going to finish off this round and I will meet you at the end. Alrighty, so here we are at the end of that round. I have double crocheted into my final bubble, so now I'm just slip stitching to join. And now I am going to just pull up that loop a little bit and remove my hook. Don't lose this loop. And I'm switching now to my 4mm hook instead. As I said before, please, if you don't have a 4mm hook, please don't feel like you have to not continue with this project. You can, of course, by all means, use a 5mm hook. It will not make a difference. The only difference will be that your headband won't be as tight and as snug around your head, which doesn't matter. Your hat's not going to fall off. I personally just like my band to be a little bit tighter just because I like my beanies to be nice and snug. Okay, so now I'm just chaining 3 to start off the new round. And now I am, again, just like what we did, I am going into every stitch with 1 double crochet all the way around in the back loop. The only difference is we are now using a smaller hook. Okay, so just 1 double crochet in every stitch all the way around in the back loop only, and I will meet you back here at the end. Alright, here we are at the end of our round, and you should have a total of 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 rounds by now. So we're just finishing off the 18th round. I'm slip stitching to join. And now we're doing 4 rows of the front post, back post double crochet. So exactly like what we've done here earlier in our beanie, only we're doing 2 extra rows. So there'll be a total of 4 rows of front post, back post double crochet. So just chaining 3 as our first double crochet and then going in around our front post. Oops. Try that again. Front post double crochet, back post double crochet, front post double crochet, and back post double crochet, front post double crochet, back post double crochet, and so on and so forth. So I am doing I will complete this round and then doing another 3 rounds on top of that. So a total of 4 rounds of the front post, back post, double crochet. Okay, I'm not going to come back after each round. I'll just meet you at the end of all 4 rounds. All right, so here we are at the end of our 4 rows of front post, back post, double crochet. I've just finished on a front post double crochet, as you can see, and I'm just going to slip stitch to join the round. Now, once you finish this part, I'm going to cut my yarn and fasten off, leaving a little bit of a tail that I can sew in. Now, if you would prefer your beanie to have a thicker band around the bottom, you can of course continue with the front post, back post, double crochet until you reach your desired width. I think this width is fine for me personally. Just keeping in mind that if you do decide to make your band around the bottom any bigger, it will obviously change the length of your entire beanie. So you want to just make sure that you're not making it too long if you're not going for a slouchy look. If you do want a slouchy look beanie, then by all means feel free to make it longer. But if you're not going for the slouchy look and you do want to incorporate a thicker band around the bottom, just remember that it will change the entire length of your beanie. Okay, so that is the beanie portion done. I can put my hook to the side now because I'm done with that. Now what we need to do is attach our pom-pom. Now I am using this faux fur pom-pom. These are the ones that I sell on my website. They come in two different colors. So this brownie color, and then they also come in this color, which is like a dark gray, like a wolf. I like to call it like a wolf grey color because that's what it reminds me of. So yeah, I sell these two colors on my website. I am looking at adding some more colors in the future, but for now these are the two colors I sell. I will link them down below if you want to purchase one of these exact pom-poms that I'm using, but otherwise, as I said earlier in the video, you can use any pom-pom that you like. I did do this version as well where I made my own pom-pom out of yarn, so you can do that as well if you didn't want to purchase a faux fur pom-pom. But yeah, basically the options are endless. You could continue, like, just leave your beanie like this and just have it without a pom-pom, and that would still look super cute. But yeah, it's completely up to you. I'm going to show you how I attach my faux fur pom-poms, only because it may seem pretty straightforward, but I actually do it a little bit different to all the tutorials that I've seen on YouTube. When I first started using these pom-poms, I wasn't entirely sure how I was meant to attach it, because it does come with this little piece of elastic attached to it at the bottom, which I have tried using after following some other tutorials that I found on YouTube. I tried using this elastic to attach it, but I just found that it was too flimsy. Like, it didn't feel super secure to me. So I actually don't use this elastic to attach my pom-pom. I actually go in with a needle through the pom-pom and attach some yarn, because I feel like that just makes it super secure and it's not going to flop around, if that makes sense. Especially being elastic, once you attach it to your hat, it's stretchy. So as soon as the pom falls, it's like it's not super tight to your beanie. I don't know if that makes sense. Anyway, now I'm just rambling on. But what I'm going to do is cut this elastic off. So I don't use this elastic at all for anything, so I'm just going to cut it completely off. Now just be careful that you don't actually cut the fur, because you don't want to lose any of your fur. So you just want to cut the pom. Don't worry about getting super duper close, because this is going to be the bottom of the pom-pom anyway, so you won't see it if you've left a little bit of elastic on there. Oh, now I've lost it. There it is. Cool. All right, so just try and spread the fur if you can. I'm going to grab some of my yarn, same color as the beanie, so it blends nicely. And I'm going to say about, I don't know, 10 inches or so. And I'm just going to cut that with scissors. So about that much yarn, you guys can see. And then I'm going to thread it through my needle. I'm using a needle that's a little bit finer than what I would usually use to, say, sew in ends or seam things together, purely because you want it to be able to go through the pom-pom. The thicker the needle, the harder it's going to be for you to actually get the needle through your pom-poms. So try and use as fine of a needle as you can get your yarn through. As you can see, I'm struggling a bit to thread this, but I've done it before, so I know it's possible. There we go. Cool. So now all I'm going to do is just insert my needle into my pom-pom, anywhere really, and it will be a little bit hard, but once you get through, it's like easy to get it back out. Okay, so now I'm just going in and under to bring it out somewhere there, just like that, and then just pulling through. It may be a little bit hard, but don't stress, just pull it through. Just take it slow, because otherwise you might damage your pom-pom and you don't want to do that. There we go. Perfect. So now you can remove your needle, and you should have something that looks like this. Just pull these up to make sure that they're nice and even, because we're going to use those to attach. So you should have something that looks like that. Hopefully you guys can see. And now we're going to attach this pom-pom to the top of our beanie. So I just use my crochet hook for this. I find that it's a bit easier rather than trying to get the needle through. What I'm going to do is put my needle in my beanie. So we're just going to go up into the beanie, and on top here, see where the hole is where we started? There will be a little string, so just pull that nice and tight from the inside with the tail, and then bring your hook up through on one side of that hole there, and grab one side of your yarn that's attached to your pom-pom, and simply just pull it through, and you'll see that it'll come out the other side of your beanie. Now we're just going to do the exact same thing, but with that other strand and on the other side. Sorry, this is kind of hard to show you guys, but I'm trying. Okay, so you'll see there that that bit of yarn is coming out of there that we've just pulled through. So now with this side, the other side of the yarn that's attached to your pom-pom, I'm going to bring it through this opposite side of this hole. So just bringing your hook up through, just going to bring it through there and pull that yarn through. Okay, and just grab onto it from the inside of your beanie. And now we're going to flip it in the other way. So just turn it inside out for now. And that's just the tail that we started off with, so don't stress too much about that. We're going to sew that in a little bit later. Just make sure you pull it nice and tight so that hole is closed up. And now these are the two strands that we just pulled through that are attached to the pom-pom. And all I do is just tie a knot. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then I'll tie it again. Nice and tight. And then I just do it a third time just to make sure that it is super secure. And then these ends I would just sew in anywhere around here. Same with this end that we finished with. And now if you turn your hat inside or outside, no, right side out, you'll see that your pom is now attached. And it's super secure, it's not going anywhere, much more secure than what it would be if you did use the elastic to attach it. If you do want to use the elastic to attach, please feel free, but just be aware that your pom-pom will be super floppy. Like, you'll even be able to see the string between the hat and the pom-pom, which I don't really think looks appealing, but you know, it's up to you guys. However you want to attach your pom-pom, whatever works for you. Each pom-pom is different, so you know, what might be elastic on my pom-pom, another pom-pom may not come with elastic like this, or you know. Anyway, I'm going to stop rambling on. That is the beanie complete. As you can see, obviously we would have to sew in these ends, but I'm just going to tuck them in for now just to show you guys. Whoops. And that is your beanie done. Let me just try Zoom out a little bit. There we go. So that is your Dear Debbie beanie all complete. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Please feel free to comment below if you did like it and give me a thumbs up. If you would like to see more videos like this, please feel free to subscribe to my channel, and you will be sent notifications on when I do upload new videos. And yeah, if you want to see more videos, please subscribe, and I hope you liked it. If you do make your own Dear Debbie beanie, please tag me on Instagram. My handle is @NanaKates, and I would love to see what you guys are making and what colors you do this in. I absolutely love seeing you guys different versions and different colors of my patterns. So please, please, please tag me on Instagram, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you did like this video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Have a great day and happy crocheting.